left to right. Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me get a hell yeah.
Well, Rob, it's official. It's time to change the intro. Ben Simmons is out. Time to hit.
I'm watching them going up. We got to change that.
That won't work anymore. All right, guys. Let's get rolling. Welcome to Party on Broad. Guys, if you're watching us live, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to smash that like button. And if you're watching, comment, ask questions. Happy freaking Cowboys week, Eagles fam. Today we are reacting to Eagles versus Niners. We're going to preview Eagles versus Cowboys as well. And of course, our co-host, he is back. He is Rob Lange. Follow him on Twitter at Philly_Menace. What's going on, Rob?
It is great to be back. I've been unfortunately unable to join any post-game shows the first couple weeks, but I texted Chris this week. I said, we got to get back into like a weekly show, man. I need to talk some more birds. I'm excited about this team regardless of what happens Sunday. I'm just excited to be back on here talking a little Eagles, man.
Let's go. Let's jump right in. Final takeaways between the Eagles and 49ers. I'll let you lead off, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, you've heard a lot of mixed things this week on Twitter, on the radio, and it's just so funny how this town just goes nuts one way or the other. They lost to a better football team on Sunday, and the fact of the matter is they were a couple of plays away from winning the football game. They lose by what was the final 17-11, so take away the 2-point conversion, say it's 17-10. Well, you had first and goal on the 1, and you didn't score any points. You had a 47-yard field goal blocked. Before the week, I said the Eagles would win 20-17. If those two things happen, the Eagles win 20-17. So I mean, they played right there with one of the better teams in the NFC. And what happened? They made young rookie team mistakes, rookie head coach mistakes, rookie quarterback mistakes. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The defense has played well, but we'll talk about them a little bit because there is one area from them that I need to see change pretty quickly. Although they've played exceptional the first 2 weeks, but there is one area that we'll talk about. My takeaways are this team is exactly who I thought they were. Maybe a little bit better than what I thought in the sense that, they dominate a really bad opponent in Atlanta. And then they play nose to nose with one of the better teams, a team that has really high aspirations in the NFC. And look, Nick Sirianni stepped up there and he said it. I messed up. And I don't think he caught a bad game all day like a lot of people do. It was the goal line situation that's going to stick out to everybody. It was bad. They didn't, first and goal at the 1, you sneak. You at least try a sneak. They didn't do that. But he owned up to it. He fessed up to it. He didn't try and give you the Doug Peterson mentality answer. All right. He is such a breath of fresh air after Chip Kelly and Doug Peterson with his press conferences because he just tells you how it is. So I'm okay. Listen, if you've been following me since my days on the Madness, you've never seen this me. That is like totally fine after this loss Sunday and ready to roll to next week.
Yeah, Positive Rob is my new favorite Rob. I'm digging it. I'm absolutely digging it. Bird Gang says, "What's up, my guys? Go subscribe, Bird Gang 31. We're beating Dallas. We're going to get into that very, very soon. All teaching moments. Nailed it. I was the same ilk. Like if BG and Brandon Brooks hadn't gotten hurt in that game, I would have woken up Monday morning pretty happy. Pretty happy about everything. All things you touched on there, Rob. Missed opportunities. The Eagles cannot afford to take on a good team like that and kill themselves, shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over again, just to kind of add insult to injury. You had the almost touchdown pass to Jalen Reagor. Just his foot was out this much. You had that great punt at the start of the game by Sipos that would have pinned them like on the 2-yard line, and they botched that and then brought it back to the 20-yard line. Then you had the unnecessary roughness by Derek Barnett, just another bonehead play by Derek Barnett that would have went from 3rd and long to 1st and 10. Then you had a game, 6-point game, and no timeouts left. Just overall, top to bottom, it was just a cluster of mistakes by a rookie head coach that we expect. And we'll deep dive a little more further into this. But another takeaway was Jordan freaking Mailata. And I know you want to touch on him as well. But for me, at the end of the day, how many times do we talk about this? The biggest storyline of this Eagles season is not about wins and losses. It's about having a full evaluation on Jalen Hurts moving forward. And in order to do that, you got to have a solid offensive line that protects him and gives him the best chance to succeed. When you hold Nick Bosa in check the way he did, man, that is just unreal. Nick Bosa had a 19.7 win rate versus Jordan Mailata. Jalen Hurts had had an average time to throw of 3.49 seconds, which I believe was just under 2 seconds in 2020. Think about that. Think about that amount of pass protection. If this is what we should expect, I know Brandon Brooks is going to be out for several weeks. If this is what we're going to expect moving forward, I think we're going to get a full evaluation of Jalen Hurts, and that makes me feel pretty good. Any take on Jordan Mailata, Rob?
I mean, look, it's even better than you could have expected from this guy. I mean, 3 years ago, he never understood. He didn't know what blocking was. Like, he was an Australian rules football player. He was a 7th round pick that everybody saw and said, "Wow, look at the size of him." But we'll get to that.
Well, hold on, Nikki. We're gonna get into grading Nick Sirianni and things like that, and I'm going to touch on that. So go ahead, Rob.
But look, if you have your left tackle of the future, okay, now you're going to get an opportunity over the next 6 to 8 weeks to see a guy like Landon Dickerson play with Brandon Brooks out. You still have Lane Johnson over on the right side. Jason Kelsey is still doing things. It's just unbelievable, even at his age. And Isaac Seumalo, I've always said, he's Isaac Seumalo. He's there. He's not great, but he's not terrible. So we'll take it for now. Yeah. But what you're seeing from a guy like Jordan Mailata, who's the future, part of the future of this organization, you can't be upset about that. I mean, that was a tremendous effort against one of the league's best on Sunday. And I know the offense didn't look good overall, but it wasn't Jordan Mailata's fault. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Let's roll on to grading Jalen Hurts. Nice segue, Nikki. By the way, let's grade Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni through 2 games. Do you want to just do 1 and 1 or just do both at the same time? How do you want to do it?
I think, my grades specifically are going to be about the same for both of them.
Me too. I have the same grade.
I think the first game, they took advantage of what was there, and they were tremendous. I mean, they both were just absolutely tremendous. They both got A's for me in that first game. From what you expected to what they actually gave you, I think it's hard not to be that happy with what they gave you in game 1. Game 2 was a little bit of a role reversal. I don't think it was an F. I don't think they were god-awful, but I don't think Jalen Hurts had a very good game. And I think Nick Sirianni didn't have his best game as far as adjusting to things when times got tough. Against Atlanta, whatever they wanted, they got. I mean, there was not a lot of difficulty there. But Nick Sirianni showed his rookiness a little bit with the gadget plays on the goal line. Mm-hmm. But like I heard some people say he coached the soft team. I don't think it was soft coaching. I think it was mistakes. Mm-hmm. I think they tried something, it didn't work. But what happened late in the game? He gets back down to the 1. What does he do? He sneaks with Jalen Hurts. Like he learned that quickly. Like, okay, when we're on the 1, we got to at least try a sneak with our quarterback. Like, we have to do that. The offensive line is the strength of our team. We got to do that. So, look, C minus for and I think overall maybe you give them in that C plus B minus range after 2 games. But look, I come out of these 2 games a lot more hopeful than defeated. Like
there.
People had the Eagles 0-5, 0-6. If they find a way to win in Dallas on Monday, and then they're 2-3 because listen, the Chiefs and the Bucs are both different animals. Say they're 2-3 coming out of the first 5, you better be happy as hell where they're at. Okay, I mean, really, there's really not much to be upset about right now.
Yeah, I got both out of C plus. Like you said, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think the recipe for success is exactly what we saw in that Falcons game. And for whatever reason, D'Amico Ryans was in Nick Sirianni's head big time in week 2, and Sirianni went away from what really worked. And it was just to piggyback off of what Nikki said. She said, how many times did you see Jalen Hurts throw over the middle this season? I can't remember any. And that's something they emphasized all training camp and preseason. And you look at Dallas Goedert generating 1.6 yards per route run. That is embarrassing. He didn't have a single target on third down in this week too. So there's a lot of kind of like scratching your heads things. But at the end of the day, this is a rookie head coach. This is a guy that needs to kind of get his feet wet a little bit. And I'm not going to be the one that kind of like just drags him down a little bit. I'm willing to let him take his lumps, and we'll see like week 8, week 9, week 10, and then we'll make a full evaluation. It's just 2 games. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. I think it's unfair to have expected him to be perfect, and listen, I understand. Look, there is issues with Jalen Hurts. Like Chris says here, there's issue with Jalen Hurts' arm strength. No doubt about it. Devontae Smith for maybe a touchdown. He underthrows him. Devontae had some pretty good separation. That's a missed opportunity. But I don't agree that it was vanilla play calling. Look, they took shots down the field. They decided going into that game, their plan was their number one corner's out. They got a rookie starting out there. We're going to attack the corners on the edge, and we're going to try and throw a few long balls. Where they made the mistake was they didn't come back and adjust that to, hey, we need to throw some slants. We need to get some things going here. I mean, look, how many times in the NFL does a team complete a 91-yard pass and get 0 points? So guess what? The long ball was working. Between Reagor a half a step out of bounds from having a great touchdown. And I was thinking of Chris. I was thinking of you dives the whole time as he's running into the end zone. And I'm like, oh, my God, I cannot believe he stepped out of bounds. And then I was going to text you and say Justin Jefferson would have stepped out of bounds. But I wouldn't say it was vanilla. I just think he might have got a little cute at times where he should. Like, I get it. The Phillies, 4th and goal there. I don't mind you going for it. But, hey, go to the strength of your offense. Go to your tight ends. Do something along those lines. I don't think you need to go that cutesy with it from the goal line.
Chris says Jalen gets a C overall. Lack of arm strength was shown. He tried to force too much. If Sanders gets 20 touches, what do you have? 14 carries, Miles Sanders in week 2. That's not acceptable. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry this season on just 28 carries. Feed Miles Sanders, just like we saw in week 1. The dude's confidence is back. Let's see it. For me, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, because I saw what Nikki said, don't be surprised if Jordan Howard is on this active roster.
Think so.
Because when you get down to that goal line and you run the ball with guys, Sanders and Gainwell, and these big boys are up there, that's where you need a bigger back. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a little shift there, and you get Jordan Howard in here for those goal line carries where he could just bulldoze into the middle of the line, and maybe get in. I do think Jordan Howard gets on this active roster before too long. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nikki said, I think we never replaced LeGarrette Blount, and it finally lost us a game. I've been screaming it for a year. You need to have a short yardage back. I also thought they went away from what worked in week 1, like the short, quick routes, the short, quick slants, allowing Devontae Smith to utilize his awesome route running and create separation. Everything they went to Devontae Smith was downfield. The chemistry wasn't there. Jalen Hurts under pressure was terrible. He was under pressure 14 times, 2 completions. It was not good. I just really disliked the entire game plan going into this game against the 49ers. Like you saw it against the Falcons. When Jalen Hurts is getting that ball out fast, and guess what? It looks great, but guess what? Coming into week 3 here against the Dallas Cowboys, someone named Dak Prescott is absolutely ridiculous when it comes to getting the ball out fast. He was 20 for 20 last week. 20 for 20 last week in short yardage passes within 10 yards against the Chargers, man. So more bubble screens to Quez Watkins, more checkdowns to Miles Sanders, more quick slants to Devontae Smith. Use what works in this offense. Like, so overall, I am very positive. There is a recipe for success within this offense. It takes Nick Sirianni to get his head out of his ass, and you know, it is what it is. So commit to the run, sell the play action, and keep Jalen Hurts confident in that pocket. If you can do that, you do that by, you know, getting the ball out of his hands fast and getting him confident in that pocket.
I tell you what, I have more faith in this coaching staff than I do in the previous regime to make adjustments when mistakes are being made. And it all goes down to what Sirianni said in his press conference last week. Scheme is nothing unless you have the players to run it. You need to adjust your scheme to fit your players. I think Sirianni went back. I think he watched the film, and I think he's going to adjust. You know, Doug didn't do that. Chip didn't do that. They had their scheme. Schwartz didn't do that. You know, and that was my biggest issue with all those guys. I have faith that this coaching staff is going to make the changes necessary. And I don't know if that means it's going to make them go on a long winning streak, but I think it'll be a little bit cleaner on the offensive side next week.
All right, let's roll on to our next question. Who has been the biggest standout player on the Eagles through 2 games, man? Who's your guy?
You know, it's difficult because, you know, guys have shown up. But I tell you, one guy, 2 weeks in a row, I see him making plays in the backfield. Javon Hargrave is starting to come into form to what we had hoped when Howie gave him that big deal. And we all kind of were like, wow, he's a good player. I don't know. You know, I'm surprised they gave that money to the defensive tackle. But now, you know, as teams are starting to slide more to Fletcher, you can't do that now with Javon Hargrave in the game. And really, the other guy that I'd say is Hassan Ridgeway. Right guy has come back and is making plays in the backfield. So those 2 D tackles to me are really a bright spot here. I mean, we could say Jordan Mailata too. We talked about him, but those 2 D tackles, because, you know, you're going to need them even more now as you lose one of your stalwarts on that defensive line and Brandon Graham. You're going to need guys like that to really step up and make plays in the middle to make it easier on those edges. You know, for guys like Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat and, you know, Ryan Kerrigan to make plays. So kudos to both of those guys, man. They've really come out and impressed me early.
Chris says Jordan Mailata. I love Nikki commenting. You need to come on the show, Nikki. Let's talk shop here, because I like where your head's at. I need to see Jalen Hurts throw into traffic. Jalen Hurts was terrible throwing into that intermediate area of the field. That's something they worked all preseason and training camp on, and we didn't see it at all in week 2.
Well, they have to come back. They have to make it okay for him to turn the ball over. Yeah. And what I mean by that is let him take, you know, you got to see it. So if he throws some interceptions, he throws some interceptions, but you got to be able to do it, and you got to be able to work on it, even if you got to take a couple lumps here early.
Chris says Shanahan made adjustments, took out Norman when Smith made him look silly. Let's move. I mean, my guy's Javon Hargrave. I think that guy's been absolutely terrific against the pass, against the run. He's been everything through 2 games. The San Francisco 49ers had a 20% successful run rate on running back carries, which was the second mark of Kyle Shanahan's head coaching career. Hargrave now has 13 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for losses, and 4 quarterback hits. You see Fletcher Cox get double teamed, and Javon Hargrave is benefiting significantly this season from that. Just like I said, knock on wood, stay healthy, baby. Chris says Mailata. Nikki says Mailata, that goes back to next year. Steven says, when did Alex Singleton forget to tackle Debo? It's tough to take down, but Singleton made him look like Earl Campbell. I mean, that was a big play, but I've actually been generally really okay with the Eagles linebacking performance. Right. I have no complaints. When you hold George Kittle and Kyle Pitts to 50 yards on 12 targets, I'm good. And look at they've been doing pretty okay when it comes to stopping the run. Go ahead, Rob.
Which is a lot better than where my expectations were for that group. You know
right.
what I mean? So, you know, I think Eric Wilson has fit in nicely to kind of the leadership role in that linebacking room. Alex Singleton is what he is. He's going to make some good plays for you, but he's going to have a couple mishaps. I mean, look, the Debo stuff, what I didn't understand, what was frustrating to me was it was almost as though they were giving him too much space. They were so afraid of the speed downfield, that he was getting all this space to do these little intermediate routes, and then he had all this room for runs after the catch. You got to be able to measure that a little bit better. And I think that the Eagles missed it there, and Debo burned him a couple of times. But good for Kyle Shanahan, called some good plays and got their playmaker in space, which is what you want to do.
All right, it is Cowboys week. Let's get into it, Rob. Matchups to watch for. Lead us off.
I mean, look, you could always go with the lines, but I'm going to go with the Eagles corners and safeties versus the playmakers of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Through 2 games, I've liked what I've seen from the 2 guys on the outside. I've liked what Darius Slay's brought to the table. Nelson had a great chance at a pick 6 against San Francisco. Ball just, goes through his hands, but they've played well. But hey, now's a test, right? Now's Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And I want to see how the safeties, who I think right now, due to injury, are, look, without McLeod back there, Marcus Epps is a nice kid, but he's just a guy. The safeties have to play big. They have to be able to help these guys, because if that's getting too much time, you got to be able to cover downfield, or he's going to pick you apart, and it could get ugly. And with the way that they're getting out quick throws, I'd like to see Gannon have some sort of plan where these guys are up in the receivers. They're bumping them, they're pressing them, and they got the help behind with those safeties. I think it's very, very important to throw Dak off his timing routes and make him have to hold the ball a little bit longer than he wants to.
Takeaway. Let's get a freaking defensive takeaway for once. The Eagles have 0 so far.
Well, that's what I was referencing earlier. Like, they've played really well, but they don't have a takeaway, and they didn't have a sack last week. That can't happen. Yeah. Like, you got to have both of those things. You could be a great defense, but if you're not getting them, it really you're not going to be able to stop teams long enough without getting those big plays.
Yeah, for me, it's the Eagles' defensive line versus the Cowboys' offensive line. We were talking about this before we went live. Cowboys right tackle Terrence Steele was really good last week. He only allowed 3 pressures on 28 pass blocking snaps against Joey Bosa. Everybody remembers Terrence Steele. He was god-awful in 2020, just like that entire Cowboys team. Got to give him credit. He did really well. Ezekiel Elliott had a really strong game. Tony Pollard had a really good game. And you look at kind of the Eagles lost in week 2, but overall in the trenches, I thought they played really well. However, they're going to have to play better in week 3. Like I said, I think this week's game plan is going to be probably pretty similar to what we're going to see with Dallas. The Niners were scheming quick. They had a lot of short throws. I think you're going to see the same freaking thing by the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get some takeaways. If you're going to slow down and beat this powerful Cowboys offense, you got to start up front, and you got to be able to get in Dak Prescott's real estate, in his head somehow, to throw him off some of these rhythm throws and getting the ball down to some of these big time playmakers. The other kind of thing I'm looking at is Micah Parsons versus, is it Micah or Micah? I always get that backwards. I don't know.
Whatever it is, he's a friggin' stud.
They moved him to edge, and my matchup is Parsons versus Lane Johnson. I think that is definitely one to watch. Parsons was just an absolute animal in week 2. If Jalen Mayfield was like the worst offensive lineman in week 1, the worst one in week 2 was Storm Norton. Just got absolutely destroyed by Parsons. That's definitely something to watch for. Lane Johnson, we need him to really win that battle right there. And, of course, back to the basics. Miles Sanders, man. I thought he was doing a pretty good job in week 2. He didn't get the ball enough. He only had 1 run of 10 yards or more on his 13 carries. But I need to see him more involved within this offense. I loved what I saw in week 2 with the checkdowns and him heavily involved in the passing game. I want to see more of that. I want to see more commitment to the run. And that's only going to set up the deep ball moving forward in this game. And one little crack into this Cowboys defense is they've been picked apart by play action. Tom Brady was 5 of 6 on play action passes on 6 dropbacks, 2 touchdowns, 9 yards per attempt, passer rating of 104.2. Sell the run, crush the run. The Eagles' offensive line needs to dominate, and I want to see Jalen Hurts utilize that play action and get the ball in that intermediate area of the field with Dallas Goedert, with Devontae Smith, quick slants. I want to see all of that week 3. What about you? Anything else?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, look, to piggyback first off what you said, I think the best defense against Dallas is to have long, sustained drives on offense. The longer that you could be on the field, the less that Dallas is on the field. And I think that's a recipe for success against a team that has as much firepower as the Dallas Cowboys do. For example, like Tony Pollard is out rushing Ezekiel Elliott right now. So it's not even like you get a break when the backup running back comes in. He might be even better than what Zeke is at this very moment. So you got to stay on the field. You got to have, some of those 9, 10, 11 play drives. You got to take some time off the clock. And when you get the opportunity to score, you got to score. And you really got to get 6. Kick a couple field goals, that's okay, but you got to get points. As far as Jalen Hurts is concerned, ready, and I'm going to make all of Eagles Nation cringe in fear right now when I say what I'm about to say. I want to see him use his legs more. He's doing it well, but he is at his best when he's playing. We said this years ago with a quarterback that we will not name who's in Indianapolis right now. I would like to see Jalen use his legs a little bit more, whether it's designed or whatnot. And I'm not saying it has to be all that, but to me, he's a better player when he's loose and he's not stuck in the pocket. So I'd like to see that from him in this game, getting out of the pocket, making things happen. Look, the arm strength isn't there right now. It's something you can work on as the years go on. But you're right. The intermediate routes are going to be huge, and you got to be able to convert. You got to have 3rd and shorts for this offense. 3rd and longs are really not going to do well for them. You got to be able to get it to 2nd and 3rd and short.
3rd and longs I'm so glad. 3rd and longs are huge in this game. You got to convert. You got to keep Dallas to those 3rd and longs. This is the number 3 team in the NFL. Only 2 games. Number 3 team in the NFL in 3rd down conversions. They are very good in terms of getting the ball out fast. So if they're in that 3rd and short, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 range, they're a tough team to beat. Dak crushes those plays. Really tough. Steven says the defense has to be more sound. They need to start forcing turnovers. He said, I can't remember the last time we let up 2 drives with 90 yards. That's got to wear you out. Gannon obviously doesn't trust the ability to blitz, which I'm a little surprised about. I am, because going into this season defensively, I expected more stunts. I expected more pressures. We haven't really seen that. It's not like the defensive line has been playing bad by any means. They did get blitzed on that one. It was in the 3rd quarter by the Niners. I think the Niners were 2 for 8 on 3rd down, and they just went bang, 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 back to back to back 3rd down conversions that killed the Eagles. Yeah. It was just a backbreaker. It was one of the biggest differences in the game that the Niners made the plays and the Eagles didn't. But that's something that the Eagles absolutely need to be wary of. You can't be making mistakes. You can't be having offsides. You got to limit the mistakes and play much better football.
Right.
Yep. We have Eagles Uncensored podcast says, yo, what's going on? Thanks for joining. And like I said, it all goes back just to for me, want to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands. Get it out. Get it to Quez. Quez has been great this year. Get him the ball more. Get him the ball more in those bubble screens. Let's see that rub route again with Devontae Smith and Zach Ertz. They need to kind of get back to the basics, and I think that's something they went away from in week 2. We'll see if they do it in week 3. Let's do it. Score predictions, Rob. Final thoughts, score predictions. Go ahead, man.
I've been thinking about this a lot today, and Dallas was on the road the first 2 weeks, 2 tough opponents. Now they get to come home to Jerry's World, home opener. A lot of expectations for the Dallas Cowboys and their cockroaches of fans this year. They're all coming out of the woodwork now after winning the game on a 56-yard field goal. Look, I think the Eagles play them tight. I do. I think this game is a tight game. And I think it's going to come down to which defense forces the turnovers. I think you're going to need that in a game like this. I would love to sit here. You know me. I'm a realist. I would love to sit here and say Eagles go into Dallas and thrash them. I think they lose a tight one. Maybe something along the lines of 24-20, something like that. I just think right now where the Eagles are is very different from where they'll be come January when they play again. And hopefully that game means something. You never know. But I just don't know if they have it yet to go down there and win this huge divisional game on the road on Monday night in front of the nation. I think it's going to be tough. I will go 24-20 Dallas, but I do it begrudgingly, and I do it hoping to be dead ass wrong.
Yeah, Steven says 30-23 Eagles. I am definitely really concerned about these quick plays and whether or not this defense can hang with this Cowboys offense. That's what concerns me. That's where you saw kind of the Niners be able to kind of wiggle their way out of this defense was by getting the ball out fast and getting those mixed direction plays and getting that defensive line, our edge rushers, off balance. They really did a good job of just negating really the strength of our defense. And that's what I'm worried about here. Again, Dak Prescott 20 for 20 in passing plays within 10 yards last week. That's what we're going to see again here in week 3. So you nailed it, Rob. Like, get this team in 3rd and longs. They need to stop the run. If they have to stop the run against the Cowboys and force them into those 3rd and longs. If they do that, maybe you got a shot. Let's see Jonathan Gannon dial up the blitz. I'm going 27-24. Cowboys win. Cowboys win this one. It'll be a nail biter. That being said, we'll see. We will see because we don't have that much data to really go on. You had a great game from Nick Sirianni in game 1. You had a poor game in week 2. Does he learn from his mistakes? We haven't seen head coaches do that in years past. Will these head coaches, this defensive coordinator, kind of learn from all of that in week 3? We'll see. We will see. Rob, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
Listen, you can find me at Philly_Madness. This is where you can find me right here, Party on Broad with my man Dives. I'll be on the post-game show Monday night. I will be in the house for that one. I'm going to try and make as many as I possibly can. I have told family, friends, and everyone else, stop having parties at 3:30 on a freaking Sunday where I have to leave my house in the middle of the goddamn game to go. It's driving me insane right now. But Monday night, nothing's going to be happening. And now that I'm not a school teacher, I got a little more energy at night. I could stay up a little later, sleep in a little bit in the morning. So you'll see me here Monday night, hopefully talking about an Eagles win.
We have a Cowboys YouTube channel joining. Says Bluff City Cowboys. What's up, fellas? What's going on? Thanks for joining. Nikki says, if we lose this game, the sky will fall. I don't believe that, man. I'm not. Again, this is not wins and losses for me in 2021. If Jalen Hurts shows that he can,
but in the city it may, because there's people that are just losing their mind. But like I don't think the Panthers are this world beater as people think after 2 weeks. I don't think. Look, the Raiders have been impressive. I don't think they're world beaters. And you get the Chiefs and the Bucks in Philly. So maybe you squeak one of those, you catch one of them on a bad day type of games. Who knows? Never know.
I think there is absolutely a world where, Jalen Hurts looks strong in the 4th quarter, but the Cowboys squeak it out. And I'm feeling good on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, if they make it a game, that was my mindset going into this game against the Niners. Like, if you make this a competitive game, given my expectations for this Eagles team, I'm good, and I am. The Eagles are doing it the right way. They're strong in the trenches, and if they continue to do so, they continue to give Jalen Hurts that tryout, a real chance for evaluating him as a franchise quarterback moving forward. So that's a win. That is a win for me. I don't have Eagles Super Bowl expectations for this team. I think there is a world where I can see a team fight, I can see a team be competitive, and I can see a brand of football that Nick Sirianni and Gannon are trying to build, and I'm good with that. So let's go on. Final thoughts. Guys, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We are Party on Broad. We can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Follow my man Rob on Twitter at Philly_Madness. I am Dobbs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. You can see all of our tons of highlight reels on this channel. I've been pumping out a ton of highlight reels, all Jalen Hurts plays, all Devontae Smith targets, all my favorite plays on offense and defense, week 1, week 2, those are out. They've been crushing. Thank you, everybody, for watching those. It's been really fun. I'm going to do that again for week 3 and the rest of the season. So just want to say thank you. We've got a ton of views on those videos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will see you definitely for the post-game show. Stay awesome, everybody.
Sixers win it! Wow! Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the